My name's Emily Williams. I'm a pianist coach out of Salt Lake City, Utah. I think sight reading is a pianist's absolute best tool, especially if you're working a lot of collaborative, and even more so if you work with a lot of singers. You're just going to have pieces that you've never seen before put in front of you, a lot. So I wanted to create a set of videos that helps us practice sight reading, but specifically with vocal rep. So let's kind of figure out how these videos are going to go. I'm going to give you some tips and tools on how you can, make this a successful skill. There's a lot of weird little tricks that at least have helped me along the way. And to be honest, I've built a career on sight reading. It has saved me so many times. So many times. So with that, let's get started. Okay, so let's see how these videos are going to look. You'll have your score. First thing you do, singer walks in the door and says, "Here, I want to sing this. Let's do this." You're going to flip through the pages, see if there's anything that's going to derail us, see if there's anything that's going to get in our way, even just check the key signature and the time signature, stuff like that. You can do this while you're talking to the singer about how their day's going, what they had for lunch, just that general chit chat of a lesson. That's a good time to flip through your score and see what's coming your way, right? So what you're going to get in your video is you're going to get a bar of clicks for nothing. So you get click, 2, 3, 4, and then you go. Your only goal of the entire piece is to keep going and to stay with the click, right? If you have to decompose, if you have to just play the left hand or just play the right hand, whatever, just keep going. That's going to be the main focus. And honestly, that's the best way to practice sight reading, because your brain starts to think, how can I keep going? What do I cut out? What do I do so that I don't mess up the singer, or so that I'm able to get through the piece, right? This is not about playing all the right notes at the right time. Not what this is about. A few tricks. My biggest help is to read ahead. Sure, I've told people before, I think I tend to read freakishly far ahead, but partly because I sight read so much and I need to know what's coming my way. So for example, if I scroll us down to this bottom of the page, I am going to turn my page probably here, right? So I am going to comprehend all of that measure, turn it so I know what's coming at the top of the next page. That is my number one tool for sight reading. Read ahead, see what's coming your way. Also, I tend to read a lot in shapes and patterns, right? So one pattern, for example, on this piece, we have this introduction, right? If we were skipping through this and flipping through things that we want to pay attention to, that's actually one of the first things I want to look at because of all the ledger lines. But when I get to the third page, look at that. That appears again. I have a pattern. So I want to be aware of that. Other patterns with this particular piece, there's a lot that are really obvious. For example, we have this figure, like that, right? There's a lot of repetition. And speaking of shape, this particular chord, that E, G, C, that C major chord in first inversion, has a very specific shape, right? So I'm going to see that shape and I can make a really good educated guess about what my notes are. Sure, this is one of our beginning easier pieces, so this is not the hardest thing to read. But when we get into the more complicated stuff, that's going to really save my bacon. And sure, maybe my educated guess is going to be wrong. But there's a good 80% chance that I'm going to be right just on the shape of the chord. Or honestly, if we come down here a little bit, it's a lot of the same repetition, a lot of the same figures. But if I look at the actual chord, so let's take that bar, for instance. I have a G7 chord and a C chord with some passing tones going back to C, right? So if I find myself in a bind and I can't get to the actual notes on the page, I just want to play something that is a G7 chord. So my singer has the right harmony and they have the right structure to sing. That's not going to freak them out. What's going to freak them out is if I randomly change the key on them or I play some weird bitonal thing because I don't know what I'm doing, right? And I get caught up in the minutia of it all. It's really that we're trying to, I had a colleague once that called it decomposing, and it really is just dumbing things down so that I can keep going to help the person that I'm collaborating with. So if I'm playing the bar before all of these D minor chords, oh, I have the 7 chord, I can do that and go, I played the harmonic structure, even though the notes were not exactly what's on the page, right? So those are just a few hints to help you successfully sight read. I promise you, it is not all about correct notes and rhythms. Yes, correct notes and rhythms have their place. Don't get me wrong. I do want us to learn things accurately, obviously. But when I'm put in the situation of having to think on my feet and having to put something together at the very, very last minute and make a version of that piece that is helpful to my singer or whomever I'm collaborating with and keeps the rehearsal moving, right? So reading ahead, read as far ahead as you can, comprehend as much at once as you can. 2, read by shape and pattern. Things look very much, octaves look like octaves. First inversion, second inversion chords look like first inversion and second inversion chords. Same thing with 7th chords. All of those look very specifically like their shape. So pattern and shape, and decomposing. Name of chord, play something in the key, play something in the chord. It's a G7 chord, play whatever your hands are close to that is in the harmony so you can follow the chord structure that gives your singer something to hang on to and makes you a very successful sight reader. So with that, let's start sight reading. So just to finish up this video before we jump into actual repertoire, a reminder, you're going to get 1 bar of nothing. So click, 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 play. Right? And you'll play along with the piano on the video. Just keep going. Don't stop. If you want a actual hard copy PDF of any of the scores, if you want IPA transcriptions or translations of any of the scores, all of that can be found on my website, which is www.emilywilliamspianist.com. And otherwise, I look forward to reading through all of this rep with you.